Since year 1956, the Ballon d'Or awards have always had a tendency to be won by forwards, with the 1963 being the only year a goalkeeper had won the award. But in the last 25 years, we have seen the Ballon d'Or turn into a goals and assist award, starting from year 2001 when Figo won it until recently when Real Madrid decided to boycott the Ballon d'Or ceremony in Paris. This is after it had leaked 24 hours before the show that Rodri was going to be the winner of the year 2024. The backlash the Spanish midfielder received was solid proof of the stats problem in football, because unlike Vini Jr., who had 27 goals and 18 assists, Rodri's 12 goals and 14 assists didn't tell the full story of his brilliant season at Man City, and this is the oldest problem in modern day football, which is finding a way to measure defensive players' contributions in a game. Because even when you search for the famous defenders on Google and track their stats, all you see is goals and assists. And even the same for goalkeepers, there is no stat available to the general public to show a measure of a defensive player's form. Not to say there isn't a stat behind the scenes for teams that have dedicated data research, but the stat I am talking about is some sort of leaderboard all around here to keep an eye on non-scoring players' form throughout the season. Because if not for Rodri tearing his ligament in September 2024, most people wouldn't fully appreciate his brilliance in Man City's 4 league titles in a row. But once the Spanish midfielder was removed from Man City through injury, they went from dominating the league to fighting for a top 4 finish. But because people have turned the Ballon d'Or to another version of the European Golden Boot, so many defensive performances have been ignored for the sake of a goals and assist ratio per game stat. A quick example, let's say if we had 2 players, one defensive and one offensive. If both players had won 3 titles, the deciding factor that have always been used to pick a superior season performance has always been goals and assists, which is an unfair comparison that puts a defensive player in a losing situation. But for Rodri, in order for him to get his hands on the 2024 Ballon d'Or, he had to win the league title, UEFA Super Cup and a FIFA Club World Cup with Man City, while also conquering European football with his Spanish national team. And that was one more medal to Vini's 3 titles of the Champions League, Spanish Super Cup and La Liga. But Vini's superior goal and assist ratio had President of Real Madrid furious on why Rodri was the winner. After all, titles have never stopped a goal scorer from winning the award, just like we saw when Messi won the 2020 Ballon d'Or over Sneijder's treble winning season with Inter Milan. That went along with the World Cup runners-up medal for the Netherlands international. But unfortunately for a low-scoring midfielder, the Ballon d'Or is just another European Golden Boot award, just in a different name brand. And Messi's 60 goals and 17 assists for 2010 made the Ballon d'Or judges ignore the treble season along with the Silver World Cup medal. And I don't blame them, it's the way football has always been. The lack of a defensive metric for a non-scoring player has always made people ignore the greatness of other positions, and the goalkeepers are the worst victims of this. Whether it's Thibaut Courtois, who carried Real Madrid in 2018 season with unbelievable performances, from only conceding 1 goal from PSG, who dominated Real Madrid at home with 8 shots on target, while Real Madrid's Benzema didn't even register a shot on target. But Courtois again saved Madrid when Man City forced him to stop 10 shots on target and another 9 shots on target against Liverpool during the Champions League final, where he also won the Man of the Match award, while only conceding 31 goals in a 38-game season in La Liga. The best goalkeeping season I have ever witnessed in my life. Not only did he lose to Karim Benzema, but he ended up finishing number 7 in the rankings, which is way lower than Oliver Kahn's top 3 ranking of 2002, when the German goalie got robbed by a player that scored 10 goals for his club and 10 goals for his national team, and that player is Ronaldo Nazario, when he won the 2002 Ballon d'Or in just 1 game, as he scored a brace against Oliver Kahn's Germany, a team that had only conceded once before facing Brazil in the 2002 World Cup final. Or what about the other robbery on Roberto Carlos, a player who had made people thought if Oliver Kahn was not the winner of the Ballon d'Or, then it should have went to the Brazilian left back, since he had won a World Cup with Brazil, a Super Cup and a UEFA Champions League with Real Madrid. Hence Ronaldo only joined at the end of the year from Inter Milan, who had won nothing that season, meaning Roberto Carlos had won 3 titles to Ronaldo's 1 title, but R9 still walked away with the award, scoring 6 goals for Madrid and 4 goals for Inter Milan. And if a free kick wizard like Roberto Carlos can be defeated by such low scoring numbers, then you can imagine how crushing it must have been for Oliver Kahn in 2001 after he had won the Champions League with Bayern Munich and won a Finals Man of the Match award to go along with his impressive goalkeeping season. But not only did he not win the Ballon d'Or award that year, the award was given to a player that had just won the Europa League, or formerly known as the UEFA Cup, with Liverpool, and his name is Micheal Owen. They didn't even give it to a player that was playing in the Champions League. So when Thibaut Courtois confessed that players of his position can never win the Ballon d'Or, I found it funny that a player that has played in England, Spain, being born in Belgium, out of all the languages he knows, this guy chose to speak nothing but facts. Because when Messi and Ronaldo's era of goals came around, players like Kante, Ribery, Sneijder, Virgil van Dijk, they all stood no chance at the award. And I feel bad for Yaya Toure, who was a defensive midfielder that was producing numbers that you would expect from a striker as a defensive midfielder. But since the Ballon d'Or is just another European Golden Boot race, then his all-time season came and went without any recognition. Even when you search for the favorites to win the Ballon d'Or for this year, all that comes up is Yamal at number 3, Mbappe at number 2, Rafinha at 1, followed by their current goals and assist ratio per game. So I ask you this question: should there be another award that is a Ballon d'Or for defensive players, or is it fine as it is how the award is being judged? Let me know what you think in the comments below. Till next time, peace.